Now live from Television Centre in London, BBC One celebrates a year of amazing action with the BBC Sports Personality of the Year.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Television Centre for the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. Please welcome your hosts for tonight's show, Sue Barker, Gary Lineker and Steve Ryder.
Good evening. Since 1954, this has been an annual celebration of sporting achievement and excitement. In that time, the award for Personality of the Year has become one of the most coveted in the whole of British sport. Tonight, in front of our distinguished invited audience, we will once again tell the stories and applaud the outstanding stars.
But over the last 47 years, the programme has grown, and tonight we have added extra awards to commend a bright new talent with our Young Personality of the Year award, that's for youngsters aged 16 and under, and a Lifetime Achievement Award to a person who has made a huge impact on sport throughout their career. So a total of 7 awards will be made tonight, 6 decided by our panel of experts and 1 by you, the BBC viewers.
And that's the Personality of the Year award itself. The first stage of voting by telephone and email is over, and it's given us a short list of 6 leading contenders. Your phone votes during the programme will decide the ultimate winner from these 6. Here they are in alphabetical order, and the all-important numbers to call. If you'd like to vote for David Beckham, call 090 11 155 100. Jonathan Edwards, 090 11 155 200. After that number for Tim Henman, it's 300. Hopefully you've worked it out by now. Lennox Lewis is 400. Ellen MacArthur, there she is, 500. And the last one, 090 11 155 600, if you want to vote for Michael Owen. Those lines are now open and will stay open for the next 2 hours.
Well, the 6 other awards will be given ahead of that, along with a great deal more as we review the sporting year of 2001.
And what a year it's been in tennis. Leighton Hewitt has become the youngest ever world #1. Great Britain is back in the world group in the Davis Cup. And Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf produced the Wimbledon champion of 2025. Could be at 500 to 1, it's certainly worth a flutter. But back to 2001, and in the women's game, the first 6 months were dominated by the comeback kid, Jennifer Capriati. From drugs to heroin, and that's heroin with an E on the end, Capriati collected her first ever Grand Slam title in January at the Australian Open, and followed that up with a dramatic win on the clay in Paris. There was talk of a Grand Slam, but Jennifer's dream fizzled out at Wimbledon as Venus once again took centre stage, claiming the coveted trophy for a second time. The final major event, the US Open, was a celebration for the Williams family as Venus defeated younger sister Serena to take the title. But back to Wimbledon, as ever the most talked about tennis event of the year. First, the British interest. For 50 weeks of the year, Tim Henman can play in relative peace on the Pro Tour, but for the other fortnight, it's bedlam. This year was no exception, as once again, our Tim took us through 2 weeks of torture.
How do you deal with the expectation of the entire nation?
There is a real confidence that this is Tim Henman. Wimbledon, everything's a career of pen mania.
Through the storm we reach the shore. You gave it all, but I want more. And I'm waiting for you. With or without you. With or without you. I could live. With or without you.
If someone says they don't get nervous, then they're lying. There's so much pressure, and you've got to deal with it.
And you give yourself away. And you give yourself away. And you give. And you give. And you give yourself away. With or without you. With or without you. I can live. With or without you.
Tim Henman just 2 games away from winning Wimbledon.
This is probably his best chance. The sun passes out.
There's a reality sunk in of what you're achieving here. This women's support has been brilliant.
63-year wait.
He plays this type of tennis. Why not? I mean, my heart rate's about 160. I can't imagine. Play suspended.
Rain has failed to dampen the enthusiasm of the huge
Will it be
crowd.
Henman? Will it be Goran? Don't know. Basically, just can't take much more of this.
And what a difference a day makes.
The dream is over. Tim Henman's failed to reach the Wimbledon final. Even Ivanisevic, who will play Pat Rafter for his final, is the first wildcard.
There's no question that I will and can win this tournament one day, and I'll keep working to try and achieve that.
Well, Tim, we heard you at the end there say that you can and will win it, so I suppose my first question is when?
Next year, hopefully. I suppose that's the earliest opportunity. But as I think you've seen by those pictures, it's always a pretty exciting fortnight for me, and one that I love, and I certainly will do my utmost to win that tournament.
But what about that semi-final with Goran? It took 3 days. You were off court more than you were on court. How difficult was it? Because it was presumably just the two of you sort of eyeballing each other in the locker room for 3 days.
Yeah, it was. It certainly wasn't the easiest match I've ever played. You know, Wimbledon semi-final speaks for itself, but to be that drawn out for a 3-day period was really difficult because it's so unpredictable. We didn't know when we were going to start, when we were going to stop the match, but you know, at the end of the day, I think I felt like I dealt with it as well as I could, and unfortunately I came out second best, but I'm a kind of a believer in what is meant to be, and it was certainly meant to be Goran's year.
Well, taking that a little bit further, because you were very positive right after the match, but now that you've had a chance to think of it, months have passed and you've reflected on it, do you not feel that maybe that was the one that got away?
There's an element of that, but that certainly isn't going to deter me in my approach, because I know that there's still so much improving to be done in my game, and I know that if I make those improvements, my chances are actually going to get better, and that's why I always, will always look forward to that tournament coming around, and it still doesn't alter my belief.
Well, we'll talk more in just a moment, but the rain delays meant that the championships would go into a third week, and while Tim headed off to the golf course, the man from Split headed for the title as Goran Ivanisevic and Pat Rafter took part in one of Wimbledon's most memorable finals. Who will forget 4 of the most agonising match points in tennis history?
Thank you. Quiet, please. 40-30. Please.
Championship point.
Deuce. Advantage, Ivanisevic.
One could only guess at the turmoil raging in the mind of Goran Ivanisevic at this moment.
Thank you. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Thank you.
He's praying
Advantage, Ivanisevic.
for the third time then. A fourth chance.
Thank you. One, please. Ivanisevic. 3 sets to 2. 6-3, 3-6, 6-3, 2-6, 9-7.
Well, for the past fortnight, Goran has been in the army doing his Croatian national service. We've managed to get him released from the barracks in Split. Please welcome Wimbledon champion Goran Ivanisevic. So, Tim, you're still speaking to him then?
Just.
But Goran, looking there at that final, take us back, because it was agonising to watch. What was it like to play in?
It was even tougher. I don't know what was going through my mind, you know. I was just hoping to put a serve in the court, you know, because I said if you're doing all the double faults all the time, you don't have a chance. So you just put a serve. Maybe he's nervous like you, because I was so heavy. I was like 200 kilos there, you know. My legs were... I was running to the net. I didn't know where I was going. So, but it was also very stiff. So I just managed to put my second serve there, and I won it finally.
Yeah, those match points were amazing. But your dad, I don't know whether you saw the pictures of him and how much he suffered watching the match.
I had enough. 13 years with me, you know. It's a lot, you know, suffering, and his heart is bad. So I think it's enough now.
Now, is it true? I mean, you had, and it's fair to say, possibly your worst year. Your ranking had dropped to 128. So to actually get in the championships, you had to write to the All England club to ask for a wild card. Is that right?
Actually, yeah. I was playing Queens on Monday and I lost pretty badly match, and then I was hoping that I'm gonna get a wild card. They were deciding till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and they gave me the wild card, so I was very happy.
So it was a begging letter, was it?
Begging letter. I mean, you know, I was hoping. I played 3 finals, so I said, okay, maybe.
Well, maybe, and
maybe, you know, they can give me one, you know.
Yeah, well, they honoured your request. And what did you do? Go out and beat both British players? I mean, that's not very nice.
Sorry. I'm older, you know, so they still have time, especially Tim, you know, he's young.
Now, we mentioned that you're in the national service. I mean, you became a huge star at Wimbledon. When you went back to Croatia, over 300,000 people came out to welcome you back. You're a national hero. And then they throw you in the army. That's not very nice, is it?
It's not nice, but it's okay. It's just bad thing you have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning every day, you know. But you get used to that.
And are you as good with the rifle as you are with the racket then?
We didn't start yet. We're going to start next week to do. But I have to be careful, you know. I'm dangerous with it.
I better not ask the next question, then I'll move swiftly on. Well, Goran, it was great to finally see you crowned at Wimbledon this year. But now for one of the undoubted kings of centre court, the youngest ever winner and 3-time singles champion. Please welcome Boris Becker. Welcome, Boris. It's wonderful to see you. But the question, the question on everyone's lips, and I'm afraid I do have to ask it because it's been major headlines over in this country. But Germany 1, England 5. What's your thoughts on that?
I knew this question was going to come up, and I'm sitting next to the captain of the English national team, and I would have a question or two with him. No, I was actually in the stadium, and I usually never leave before the finish of the match. But then after that 5th goal, my heart couldn't take it anymore, and I left 20 minutes before it ended. And Germany is having a hard time to overcome ever since then.
Well, I've got you sitting next to David, but I tell you, Michael Owen's sitting over there, and I'm sure he'll talk you through the hat-trick a little later in the evening.
I don't want to know.
We'll make you suffer because you've got to sit through it again, I'm afraid. But let's take you back to Wimbledon, because I know you're very good friends with Goran, and it must have been wonderful to see him achieve his dream in that style.
Well, I'm also friends with Tim, and it was sort of a heartbreaking 3 days. And in my situation, I was fortunate to play with Goran and Tim, throughout my career. With Goran, I had a couple of difficult Wimbledon battles. But it was just an amazing story, and at the end of the day, Goran was the man who was the one who deserved to win the whole thing, and what a story.
And the final, I mean, he really did it the hard way, didn't he?
He didn't want to have it easy. Yeah, he had those match points, but it's much easier to look from the outside. Once you're on that court, all the nerves go through your mind and the doubts, and but he managed to win it, and congratulations. Yeah.
Can you actually identify with the pressure that these two go through? Because you sort of waltzed into Wimbledon, you won it at 17, you won it again at 18, possibly not realising the enormity of the event and in fact the centre court, the hallowed turf you were playing on.
Well, looking back, there was in a way an advantage to win it that early. So even though I've lost a couple of finals afterwards, I knew I had those 1 or 2 wins in my pocket already. But yes, I kind of know what Tim is going through those 2 weeks, because my whole schedule was, over the whole year was around Wimbledon. It was a time before Wimbledon, it was Wimbledon, it was after Wimbledon. And but it's the most important tennis tournament in the world, and that's where we have to play our best.
And Tim, I just want you to close your ears now, because I'm going to ask Boris, do you believe that he can win it?
I have a funny feeling with Tim, for one reason or another. Every year he keeps on coming closer. And I strongly believe that he's a strong contender for next year. Goran has to play with him as well a little bit, but I believe that in his career he will win Wimbledon.
And just briefly, Goran, have you actually spoken to Pat Rafter since the final, or has he totally ignored you since then?
Actually, no. He spoke to me. He gave me the record.
Okay. Oh, did he? Okay, well, now all I have to do is just stay here for a moment, because we are now ready for our first award of the evening.
Yes, there was a really strong field for the Overseas Personality of the Year award this year, with contenders including Tiger Woods, Retief Goosen, Glenn McGrath, Michael Schumacher, Jennifer Capriati. But our judging panel produced a clear winner, and we'd now ask Boris Becker to present this year's award to the man who went from wild card to Wimbledon winner, the original split personality, Goran Ivanisevic.
I don't know what to say, but I would like to thank BBC for this unbelievable award, and I'm proud and honored to be today here with so many great sport people. I wish you all the best next year. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Now in boxing, before we talk about the action, it was wonderful this year to see the reunion of two great boxers, Michael Watson and Chris Eubank. 10 years after their extraordinary fight at White Hart Lane that resulted in brain surgery for Michael. And we're delighted that Michael is with us here tonight after the most difficult fight of his life has seen him make such a miraculous recovery. A big welcome, please, for Michael Watson. In April, the world of boxing had one of its occasional tremors when Hasim Rahman sent Lennox Lewis crashing to the canvas, but Lennox returned the compliment last month to take the world heavyweight title for the third time, shades of Ali no less. Meanwhile, Nassim Hamed lost his world title and Audley Harrison began his professional career. Not easy to get these three guys together, let alone in the same ring, but we think we've managed the trick.
So who is the true king of British boxing? Is it the heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis? Or the challenger, a true student of the fight game, Audley
Harrison, Sydney Olympics, reading Fist Tectonics. Lennox, my philosophy of boxing is simple, yeah? To defeat your opponent, simply insert fist A into glove B, propel forward toward target C, accounting for locomotive force acting upon displacement where C is constant and A is the impactual velocity of B.
Yeah, or you could just punch him really hard, like in the face.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do that.
Oh boy, look at that. This fight well and truly answered the one question that the pundits have been asking about.
What, you mean the question, is Audley Harrison a world-class fighter?
No, who are all the pies, man?
Who are all the sucker punches, more like?
I trust you are relating to that sucker punch, are you not?
Allow me to take this call from my master. Greetings, master.
Greetings, Audley. Today's lesson for you of pugilist art is this. Never again go on they think it's all over.
It is understood, master. Greetings and respect.
Hit it!
Oh baby, a perfect reverse 7-orbit rope thruster with back somersault, twist, spin, gyrate, tat, straight into the ring. Don't forget about me, I'm the greatest, I'm the best there's ever been. Oh baby, even though I got a bit defeated, my rhyming skills will never be done again, or nothing.
So, are you ready to take on Tyson, Lennox?
Oh boy, definitely. Boy, I'm ready, and I'll tell you something, it will be a lot more evenly matched than when Bruno boxed him.
Look, he's got that scared look in his eyes.
Let's face it, I am Britain's best boxer. Come at the hour. Come at the... Well, I'll be there, you know what I mean?
Hey, ask Has-Been Rackman who's the boss now. I'll tell you, the only way that Lennox Lewis will ever get taken out again is with chocolates and flowers. Definitely.
All right, Naz, which way's the snooker hole, mate?
Yeah, it's that way. No, it's over there.
Yeah, Naz, what are you doing in my bath? If you squash my rubber ducky, there's gonna be trouble. Still nice to have the belt back where it belongs. I'm Britain's best boxer. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, yes, I am.
Must be some sort of stage they're going through. And here now, in the flesh, is Audley Harrison. Can I first say that was not my idea, nothing to do with me whatsoever. Quite good though, wasn't it?
Yeah, first one. Interesting.
Audley, it's been a tough first year for you in many ways. I mean, you've won all your fights, and a lot of criticism about the opponents. What's the fundamental difference between amateur boxing and professional boxing, obviously apart from the vest?
Yeah, I think the key thing is that as an amateur in the Olympic programs, it's much more geared to, it's a point system, and you're working more on speed and scoring points to building up an accumulation of punches. In the professionals, then you're trying to win the contest, and one of the ways of winning it is by knockout. So it's much more geared to power and trying to take your opponent out. So it's much more close and personal, professional boxing.
Looking forward to perhaps facing a few better opponents, like Mr. Blobby or something?
Yeah, I mean, the key thing is... The key thing is, and I think people understand it who follow sport, is that the Olympics in boxing, I mean, I was at the top of the tree, and I think I'm fortunate that in professional boxing I can start all over again, but I'm at the bottom of the tree at the moment, and it's important that I take my time, learn the game properly, otherwise I'm going to get exposed. So it's important that I take my time in terms of opponents, and I believe 2-3 years down the road I'm definitely going to get there, but it's important that at this stage I just get the basic fundamentals.
And get there as the world champion?
Definitely, I mean, that's my dream now, that's the goal, and I see no reason if I keep dedicating myself why I can't get to the top of the tree.
Okay, Audley, well, we know where you hope to be heading, and we've got a man who's already there, because joining us live from Los Angeles, we have the heavyweight champion of the world, again, Lennox Lewis. Lennox, it's been quite a year for you. 2 fights, both against Rahman, and very contrasting fights. You seem to get it right the second time, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to get rid of the pretender and, show the world that I'm a true champion.
You treated it seriously enough the first fight, looking back in hindsight?
Not as serious as I could have treated it. In this sport, a lot of punches are always thrown, and sometimes you're not able to get out of the way of some of them, and some of them are able to get through. But I made sure that I got it back, though.
Well, it looks like it's going to be Mike Tyson next. Mercer's out the way now, nothing to stand in the way. It appears that he wants a bit of you.
Well, he's been saying this for a long time, and I've been waiting for Mike Tyson since after the Holyfield fight. So I'm glad that he's finally, decided. I had to actually go and cancel his Ray Mercer fight, so I think he's a bit upset about that.
He's actually, quite scary though, isn't he, Tyson? If he doesn't get you with his fists, there's always a chance that he might get you with his teeth. You'd be in big trouble if you had ears like mine, I tell you. Even going for 6 rounds.
I'm glad that I'm tall enough that the only thing he can really get on me is like pull my hair or something.
He's had a bit of a go at you verbally. I saw a quote this morning, I'll read it to you. It says, keep your acting lessons going, Lennox. Your next role is in Cinderella, and I'm going to break your little glass chin. Would you like to respond to that?
Good. That just gives me some fuel to my fire. Tell him to keep it up. Keep it up.
Another quote I saw was from Emmanuel Stewart, your trainer. He was saying that he thinks, perhaps after you've beaten Tyson, that you'll retire because you've done it all. Would you concur to that?
Yeah, I mean, in the last era, there's like Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, and all them guys. In this era, there's like Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, and basically, I've achieved the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. And now I think the world is just waiting for that big ultimate fight between Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. And, after I beat Mike Tyson, I say, well, there's nothing else for me to prove, so I'll leave it to the young guys.
So there's no chance of you hanging around for Audley then?
No, absolutely not. Just give it to them guys, let them go on and be triumphant.
Okay, I'm sure Audley would be probably quite relieved about that, because he's pretty good as well. But ladies and gentlemen, Lennox Lewis there in Los Angeles, and here, Audley Harrison.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, now on to the Sport of Kings, where our First Lady of Racing, Claire Balding, paid a visit to someone who's known for his discipline. Even his horses respect him. He's won a number of trophies already this season, and for once we're not talking football.
3 furlongs to go in the derby.
We've got a couple of fallers there.
It's fantastic, Light and Galileo blocked together. And the field turns for home. Come with the ball! He's killed it for speed at the end.
So Alex, how do you think racing has enhanced or changed your life?
Well, it's given me the release. I think that's the most important thing at a stage in my life where I was looking for something like that.
Because your interest really started with jump racing. I mean, this season was pretty much a wipeout with foot and mouth and rain and everything. I suppose the one highlight there was the Martel Grand National. You were there that day.
Yes.
What did you make of it?
Oh, I'm surprised I didn't back Red Mid-Order.
Exactly.
Why didn't I back it? I backed Bo.
It was the most extraordinary race. I mean, Bo was making the running at this point.
Yeah,
8 horses taken out the canal turn first time round.
Fortunately, no one was seriously injured.
You're not going to want to see this again if you back Bo.
What is he thinking about? Look at poor soul.
And then he chases after him as well.
Up on the run in now, the cheers of the crowd, and they are applauding a very brave horse and a great rider.
Lots of courage, isn't it? Courage and stamina, just to get over that line.
This is a famous victory for Red Marauder and Richard Guest.
And for the jumping boys, they're not doing it for very much financial reward. I mean, Tony McCoy made it 6 championships in a row.
But what concerns me about AP and that Frankie Dettori is their pension for supporting Arsenal. I can't understand it.
And in terms of flat jockeys, you've grown very close to Mick Cannan. Well, I hope that at the beginning of this year he told you all about Galileo, which Mick has said was one of the most exciting horses he has ever sat on.
Here's Galileo now on the outside, moving up to put out the big challenge. Golan has now been popped the question.
He's all over the place, Golan, isn't he? He's rocking, and he's such an even ride from Galileo. It's a fantastic performance.
A half furlong left to go, and Galileo is going to career away with the derby.
And what every sports fan wants is the match-up between the 2 big ones, and we had that this year with Fantastic Light twice taking on Galileo, which was the head-to-head everyone wanted to see.
The battle's on. It's Galileo the far side. Fantastic Light serving it up on the near side.
Galileo's stride is still big, whereas you see that Fantastic Light is starting to shorten now.
Fantastic Light can't get him. The 3-year-old's going to win it. Galileo triumphant in the King George.
And when they met again in the Irish Champion Stakes,
it's the rematch. Fantastic Light the far side, Galileo the near side.
They eyeballed each other, didn't they? I thought Galileo was certain to win, but credit to Frankie and Fantastic Light. What a performance.
Fantastic Light has beaten Galileo.
And he's such a showman, isn't he?
He's a terrible showman.
Well, they went out to America with Fantastic Light, and he rounded off his career in a blaze of glory, winning the Breeders' Cup Turf.
Yeah.
Well, Godolphin nearly pulled off a big race double over there because they had Saki running for the first time on dirt, and he nearly won it.
Well, that's the test you see going to America. You're going to be racing against horses who are acquainted with these surfaces. It's a novel thing for our own horses to do that.
And on a surface that was so unnatural to Saki, I mean, we saw him unbelievably impressive on turf in the Arc, and that was a very special day for you. This is Rock of Gibraltar winning you your first ever Group 1 race, and to do it this easily is almost embarrassing.
It wasn't embarrassing, I can assure you. Coming around that final bend, I said, go on now. And he waited a little bit and just accelerated, I couldn't believe it.
But the one horse you will not want to come up against next year is Johannesburg. I mean, this is in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. For me, this was Aidan O'Brien's achievement of the year.
He really was bullish about the horse, and look at that, dear me.
Johannesburg has won it!
No danger of you taking out a training licence, though, is there?
Oh, I read about that one. Where does that one come from?
I didn't read about it. I just.
Well, someone says, well, I actually didn't read about it. Somebody read it out to me. He says, I'm taking a training licence. I says, really? So goodness, will you tell Kathy that one?
She'll love that, won't she?
Absolutely no chance.
Interesting to see Kathy's reaction. Well, that may be fantasy for the manager of Manchester United, Sir Alex, but now here's the real McCoy, Tony McCoy. Now, I know Sir Alex actually concentrates on flat horses, but if he had some national hunt runners, would you want to ride for him? Being an Arsenal fan?
I think he'd be pretty difficult to please, but I'm sure we could try.
I think there's a few people in the room you could possibly ask.
Yeah.
Now, we can see how dangerously challenging your sport is, but we don't really know how tough it is off the course as well. I mean, I know that your natural body weight is about 11.5 stone. You have to keep it 10.5 and possibly even 10 stone to if it's a certain horse in a race that you want to ride in. So talk about that regime and what you have to go through.
Yeah, well, it's most difficult obviously through the summer. It's the quiet period. I've been 11 stone 10 stripped, and through the winter, if I've got 10 stone to do one of the big handicaps, it means getting down to about 9, 10, 9, 11. And it's hard work.
How though? It's hard for anybody.
Hot baths, saunas. There's mornings you get up and you think whatever about going racing. You get up, you think getting into the bath is like nearly crying stakes. But you have to do it because I'm lucky that I do it for a lot of horses that are good. There's a lot of lads doing it for horses that are not even going to win. So.
But you've got Christmas coming up. I mean, you're going to let yourself go a bit and have half a mince pie or something?
Kind of a little bit through Christmas. It depends. Obviously King George Day at Kempton will depend on what weight a lot of the horses have got, so Christmas dinner might be okay and it might not. So.
Okay, well, 6 times champion jockey, on course for the 7th as well. Well done. Thank you very much, Tony.
Thank you.
The golf season didn't quite turn out as expected. It wasn't entirely Tiger Woods' year, or at least not to the degree we imagined. South Africa produced the #1 in Europe, and it didn't turn out to be Ryder Cup year at all. There was still plenty, though, for the dedicated enthusiast, and we didn't have to go far to find one.
End of the golf season. As you can see, a lot of clearing up to be done. Some people say you can't put the golf season into perspective because the Ryder Cup was postponed. But I think it was done for the best reasons. And also we've got September at the Belfry to look forward to. Royal Lytham in December. Still absolutely awesome, but completely different in July. Crowds, grandstands, cameras.
Come on everybody, quiet!
They called it the most open of all time. At first it was Monty. Then it was come on Darren. But in the end it was David Duval who shook off the tag and been one of the best players ever never to have won a major.
Well, that was a shot of a champion.
1, 2, 3, 4. Don't want to do a woozy. 15 clubs in the bag? That's absolutely shocking.
Woosnam has too many clubs in his bag. This means his penalty shots. 2-shot penalty, so the 2 at the first becomes a 4.
God, I give you a job to do and you can't do it. You're on off.
Not only did it cost him a place in the Ryder Cup, but he actually could have won the Open. Anyway, that's history. But later on in the year, he did create history. At 43, he was the oldest winner of the World Match Play at Wentworth. And he was talking about semi-retirement. There's hope for us all yet. 12 feet up the hill, absolutely simple. Not for Retief Goosen.
This is to win the 101st US Open Championship. Taps it forward and he has missed it! And he now has about a foot and a half to take this championship into a playoff.
It was the mark of the man that came back and won the US Open in the playoff. And also, he was first in the European Order of Merit and won the World Cup alongside Ernie Els. It's no wonder he's been dubbed the Golden Goose.
Mine's not on there yet, but it will be soon.
Now, the man that finished second to the Golden Goose in the European Order of Merit was Padraig Harrington. We had a saying at Liverpool, first is first and second's nowhere. Padraig finished second 7 times. That's unbelievable, isn't it? 7 times. Mind you, at the end of the season he did win the big one, the Volvo Masters. Now, a first, 7 seconds, and second in the Order of Merit. Don't tell me that's not a great season.
I'm just waiting for the opportunity to play that in the course.
It's always great to get to the 19th, especially if you've got something to celebrate. David Tom certainly had. He won the US PGA with some fantastic golf on the way.
But, oh well, as I was saying.
Yet another American winner of this year's majors. On the world stage, the Europeans didn't have a lot to celebrate. Apart from the Walker Cup, that is. Great Britain and Ireland captained by Peter McAvoy. The first side in 79 years to successfully defend their title. And on American soil. How difficult is that? Those youngsters are definitely Europe's future. In the women's game, Carrie Webb, at the tender age of 26, achieved a career Grand Slam, and that is no mean feat. But the highlight of the golfing season for me has got to be Tiger Woods.
But what a moment. We'll have a young man, just 25 years of age, who holds all the 4 trophies at one time.
Doesn't matter what you want to call it, the Grand Slam or the Tiger Slam. When Woods won at Augusta National in April, he elevated himself to be one of the all-time greats, not only in golf, but in sport. Absolutely awesome.
Padraig, you no doubt would settle for the modest kind of year that Tiger has had.
Yeah, well, after he won his fourth major tournament and completed his Grand Slam, I think he lost a little bit of focus. He'd done nearly everything he'd set out when he turned pro, and I think next year he'll come out a little stronger again.
What about your year? Do you look back on those 7 runners-up spots and just think what might have been?
Well, when I was having them all, I was telling anybody who would listen that I'm gaining experience. It's good consistency. It was only when I won at the end of the year that I realised that was all rubbish. I convinced myself, I think, that it wasn't too bad to finish second, but the relief I got when I actually hold that putt in the last green at the Tour Championship kind of said that it really made it into a great year. If I hadn't got that, I think I would have always known there was something missing.
Well, next year becomes Ryder Cup year once again. You came up through Walker Cup golf. We've got a few members of the triumphant Walker Cup team here. It does indicate that the future is very, very strong.
I think that Walker Cup team was very strong. I was telling anybody who'd listen to me that they were going to win when they went out there. Very strong players, all have done very well in professional events, and to be honest, Peter McAvoy is a great captain. I never played under him myself, but I played against him a few times. He was the captain of the English team when we played home internationals, and he seems to be the complete article when it comes to captaining a team.
And that little trick shot we saw of yours, it was a trick shot, wasn't it? Can you imagine the circumstances on a golf course? You might need that.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, when anybody is practicing, they're always, fiddling around, and to be honest, you're not always practicing the normal things you come up against in golf. So you have to use a little bit of imagination just to make practice interesting. And I think I've learned that shot, and funny enough, it's actually stuck with me more than some of my normal shots. I can play that better than some of the standard shots. I should stick to them more often.
Well, it's been a very productive shot for me down the years, I tell you. Padraig, thanks. Those phone lines, by the way, to vote for your Sports Personality of the Year, they've been open for about 40 minutes now, and here's a reminder of those 6 important numbers.
So keep calling. Remember, it's you who will decide tonight's winner. Well, now straight from the golf tee into the water. No, it's not Jean van der Velde, but a gentle crawl through the world of water sports. In swimming, Britain celebrated its first gold at the World Championship since David Wilkie 26 years ago, along with 6 other medals. And then, on somewhat rougher water, Britain hailed a new heroine. Alone for 3 months, Ellen MacArthur took on everything the sea could throw at her, many times reaching breaking point and having to go beyond.
When you leave, you don't think you're not going to come back. Not for a second.
I don't want to call my friends, or they might wake me from this dream.
25 knots of breeze and clear blue sky. It's fantastic.
And I can't leave this bed. Risk forgetting all that's been.
Well, here we are, just crossing the equator. There's a small offering to Neptune. My hands feel horrible.
You're very nervous about the south, and you know it's a very dangerous place to be.
There are going to be days which are really bad, but I know there'll be magic moments as well. Oh God, it's never easy. It's never easy.
It's quite strange, even in the storms, and that the sea was just being the sea. It wasn't as if it was attacking me, or, you know, you imagine a big storm as if it's you against the ocean, and it never ever felt like that, not once, not once.
Water's changed colour, everything's changed just like that, just in that one instant. It's like we've entered another ocean. It's amazing.
I know the last few days are going to be very hard, but this has been the most incredible experience. I really have found my limits and gone beyond them. I think there are things that happen to you in the Vendée Globe which you can never look away, and that will stay with you forever.
Well, Ellen, congratulations on such a courageous journey, and looking at the reception that you received when you came home. I mean, global star, did that take you by surprise?
I think it can do nothing but take you by surprise, because you're on your own for so long and then you come back to something like that. Not only are you with people, but with almost 250,000, it was just incredible.
And worldwide, I was actually in the United States and you were on network news over there.
It was amazing. I mean, you think you sail around the world and you're so out of contact with the rest of the world, and then when you come back in that one moment, you can be reconnected at such a speed. It was just incredible.
Talk a little bit about the voyage, and what was the most dangerous, the most terrifying moment for you?
I think there were numerous. I think generally the Southern Ocean was one of the hardest parts, because it's so cold. We spend over half of the race down there. It's freezing, freezing cold, and the icebergs, and the whole time you're waiting for the next storm, you're worrying about the next storm, you're checking the boat, and it's just the duration. It just eats into you bit by bit until you get to the finish.
You say worry, but was there a fear there? Fear for your life?
Only a couple of times did I fear for my life, I think. Once was, in fact, both times were up the mast. One was when I had to go up in the worst storm we had in the whole race, and I was hanging off the rig with one hand, kind of thinking, come on kid, you've got to get yourself back down again. And the second time was quite similar, but right at the top.
That's what took me by surprise watching the documentary, is how when you're talking about these terrifying moments out on the voyage, and you were in tears and that, you remembered to turn the camera on and talk to it. I think I would have kicked it across the room or something.
I think before the race I made a decision. I really wanted to communicate the race as much as possible. I wanted to share the race with as many people as I could, and that one link was going to be the camera. And, you know, even at the worst moment you think, well, damn it, you know, I'm going to say this, because if I don't say it now it's never going to be repeatable. So I just grabbed it and switched it on.
Well, it was riveting viewing, and a great adventure. Well done. Thanks, Anna. Well, some can go solo, others need the right kind of partnership, and Olympic champions Matthew Pinsent and James Cracknell seem to have hit the perfect combination, underlined at the World Championships, where they won the coxed and the coxless pair on the same astonishing day. They are now clearly the pair to beat in world rowing. James, it was a very macho thing to attempt and a macho thing to achieve as well. What were you trying to prove?
I think after Sydney last year we definitely needed that same kind of pressure to perform again, and to try and do something that no one had done before, and we took it on. And luckily we tried to get the governing body to move the races to 2 different days, but they didn't. So having said we'd do it, we then had to do it 2 hours apart.
So the partnership is clearly working straight away. What are the special ingredients between the two of you?
I think find the biggest and strongest bloke you can and then get him to row with you.
It is a very, very physically demanding sport, isn't it, Matthew? We've had Tim Foster announce his retirement during the course of the past week, one of the heroes of Sydney last year. Are you starting to creak at all yourself?
I have had a bit of a sore back this week, actually. Funny you mention it, but no. You know, by and large, it's all holding together. Still 2 arms and still 2 legs, and.
Well, historically, you always seem to have a little bit in reserve, but at the British Indoor Championships, beating James by a split second, you didn't have a great deal left, did you?
It was a massive margin. No, I think we both got into a bit of a testosterone bullfight over that one. And it got very ugly before it was over.
The competitive element in the boat is very important, I know. You will remain at the top for a long time, I'm sure, unless Jonah decides to take up the sport. Matthew and James, well done. In their own way, our rowers have shown a tremendous amount of determination and courage. And that very neatly brings us to our second award of the evening.
This award is presented in the special memory of our former colleague Helen Rollason. It's great to see Helen's daughter Nikki with us again this year. Last year the award went to Tanni Gray-Thompson, and I'm delighted that she is with us tonight to present our award, which honours outstanding courage and achievement in the face of adversity, qualities epitomised by this year's winner, Ellen MacArthur.
Well, thank you very much. I think this really just has to say thank you to everybody. I know that I very much, like all the sports people in this room, started off with a dream deep down in my heart that I wanted to be at the top, and I've worked hard at it like everyone else has. And at the end of the day, it's about sport. It's about pushing as hard as you can when things get difficult, and if this is against adversity, I know that there's a lot of other people in this room who know how that feels like, especially you. So thank you, everybody. I accept this really on behalf of everyone from my team. Well done.
Now, after a recent resurgence in English cricket, hopes were high for this summer's Ashes contest. So much for hopes. Australia 4, England 1 sort of tells the story, but it gets worse. We've got Shane Warne to gloat about it and put Jamie Theakston in a spin.
Me holding that, or are you holding that? Or?
I'll show you how to do it. Okay. Listen, where do you think it all went wrong for you in the cricket?
Started from ball one, really. Just nothing went right for us the whole summer, did it? But look, it has been a fantastic summer. You know, I think England brings out the best in us Aussies. I think it's there's something about the history, the tradition. It was just thoroughly enjoyable.
Why can't we beat you?
Where do you want me to start? No, first of all, I think the crucial moments in each test matches, especially 20 minutes before breaks, like lunch and tea and those sorts of things.
Well, that's when we're thinking about tea.
Yes, and that's what probably happens, and that's when you lose a wicket. But I think it was, we always thought, honestly, seriously, it wasn't, although the scoreline said 4-1, it was a lot closer than those first couple of tests. Seriously.
You kept beating us in 3 days.
Yeah, I know, but no, seriously, they dropped their chances, dropped catches. That's what cost England. So, the one I'm talking about, the crucial test matches and the crucial moments in them, England actually had their chances in those first couple of tests, but unfortunately for them, they just missed the big moments in the test. They dropped a few catches, they exposed new batsmen just before breaks, which really hurt them.
Did you deliberately try and win in 3 days so you could go and spend some time at Wimbledon, go and see some concerts? Was that it?
No, we didn't, but as it turned out, it was fantastic that we did, because we did get the chance to go to see Paddy Raft at Wimbledon, which was sensational. Saw Madonna and U2 in Earl's Court. I mean, it was just fantastic that we kept winning in 3 days.
On your game,
hey, that's why I was pumped. Come on, shoulder, U2 in a couple of days. Come on. Here we go. I think this is probably the most friendliest Ashes series. I think you start to play against someone for 10 years, you say something to them, they just laugh, and it's hard not to smile yourself. We're all good friends. You know, like Mike Atherton, since he's retired, you know, it's going to miss him next time we play England. It's not going to be the same. With Athers out there, we start saying, come on, Athers, nick one in here, buddy, we're ready.
Do you think that England will regain the Ashes in your lifetime?
I hope not. I think in the current team, Steve Waugh's the only guy that's played in a losing Ashes series.
Of course, because you've never lost.
No. Never lost to England, so I'd love to keep it that way.
Your eyes all lit up.
It's great, isn't it? It's fantastic. But look, England, how are a quality side, and I'm sure at some stage it's going to be their turn. I mean, Mark Butcher's innings in Headingley was something sensational. I think the way he played, 5th day at Headingley, 300 to get, 3-0 down in the series. You know, to come out and get 170 not was a great effort. They just got to believe it against everybody. They can compete and they can win. And I think that's one thing I've noticed about the England thing about sport. Oh, I hope we win. You know, I hope we win. Don't you think they're going to win? I reckon they're going to win. Well, I hope so. I'll keep my fingers crossed. Now, if you ask an Australian, do you think Australia's going to win tonight?
Yeah,
bloody oath, mate. We're going to bloody knock them. Well, I can't say what they'd say, but bloody, you know, we're into them. So it's just all about that attitude, positive stuff, and you know, I'm sure England are on the right track.
See that? Did you spot that?
No idea what that is. Got me out. Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, pretty good. Now listen.
Now you've got to do it over 22 yards, not just off.
No, I can't do
fancy tricks off the arms.
I can't do that.
One man who's suffered occasionally at the hands of Shane Warne, Mike Atherton here with us. I mean, what is it about Shane Warne? Why do we have so many problems with him? I mean, he doesn't bowl that fast or anything, does he?
Well, he's probably one of the greatest bowlers that's ever been. Certainly the smartest bowler I played against. Outstanding cricketer.
He's quite almost patronising about England there, but is there reason for us to be optimistic about the future?
Well, I think over the last couple of years England's cricket has definitely gone in an upward curve. I think we've been unfortunate in the decade to play against an Australian team or teams that will go down as one of their best periods in their sport, but cycles always come to an end, and let's hope it comes to an end soon.
Terrific career for you. As you sit here full of BBC champagne, contemplating England's 10-wicket defeat against India, any regrets about not being there?
No, I was sat at home watching that the other day, and whilst they were toiling away, I was no regrets about retirement.
Oh, but will you miss it?
No, I'm really happy with the career that I had. Thought I picked the right moment to go out, and I've no regrets really, so I'm happy to move on and try and find another life.
Wish you well, Mike.
Thank you.
Well, it was a confusing year in rugby union. And all the major nations suffered significant defeats. The Lions roared, but principally in diaries and ghosted newspaper columns. So where does the power lie? Who are the dominant force? And what message will Keith Wood of Ireland and the Lions be sending out this Christmas?
The Six Nations started with a bang, which fairly frightened the life out of all the rest of us. England put down a very early marker against Wales. To Neil Jenkins. Talk about ruining your best day. 1,000 points in Test history for the first time and getting thrashed by England. The highs and lows of international rugby. Congrats, I think. That's Jenks out of the way. Wales had a pretty good day against France as well. But Brian O'Driscoll and his grand larceny against France really stole the show. To Brian O'Driscoll, I don't care what anybody says. That try was absolutely perfect. I believe it, and the records show it.
Fair try, that's right. Yeah.
With your try and the Welsh boot of Jenks, the French really had a season to forget. About time too. They have been the bane of my life. I'm struggling with this. There were an awful lot of ifs and buts during last season's championship with the foot and mouth. But when the season finally came around, Clive, we gave you the championship with one hand and took away the Grand Slam. I think it's to look like an eclair. It's a praisey for you, Clive, but there's nothing for the Scots. You ruined our dreams. We were hoping for a Grand Slam. We haven't had one for over 50 years. We managed to spoil England's party. But when the chance came to beat New Zealand, we let it slip. We don't get that chance too often. But England didn't let anything slip. Once the autumn internationals came along, they wiped the floor with both Australia and South Africa. Johnny Wilkinson absolutely on fire with the boot. And Dan Luger scoring from 75 yards.
Who says the Northern Hemisphere is considerably better than the Southern? I said it the wrong way around. Talking of the Southern Hemisphere, makes me a bit nostalgic about the Lions. Means I have to write a letter to Martin Johnson. I tried my best to back him up throughout the summer, but we failed when it really counted. We won the first match, played very, very well. But after that we let it slip. Things didn't go our way, and I'm obviously very, very disappointed, because it's my last ever Lions tour. The Lions lost, but the Leicester Tigers won virtually everything. The Championship, the Zurich Premiership and the Heineken Cup. But on that day, Austin Skills did the talking. We knocked them out of the cup, only to lose and fall to Newcastle in the final. Dave Walder in the last minute. Harlequins and I had our chance in the summer when we managed to beat Narbonne for the European Shield final. Good rugby, good fun, and isn't that what it's all about?
Some quick thoughts now from Jonah Lomu and Clive Woodward as well. At the end of a pretty successful autumn international season from England's point of view, Clive, where do England stand now in the whole world order, do you feel?
I think it's very subjective from England's point of view and my point of view. We're just pleased with the progress we're making. There's no doubt game on game we're getting better. I think we've won 15 out of 16 now. So I think the biggest thing also, we've got no fear about playing Australia, South Africa or the All Blacks, and that's taken a lot of culture change. And I really think the Northern Hemisphere rugby, France, Ireland doing very, very well, England are right there. I think there's been a big levelling out, but you've just got to go game by game. And I'm just delighted in the progress of the whole England team and the whole England setup.
Jonah, where do you think England stand now?
They've just proven, how good they are by, beating, two very good international sides in South Africa and Australia, and they're right up there.
We always like to read a great deal into the autumn international season. Have New Zealand proved that they're on top of the pile once again?
I don't know about top of the pile. We sort of gauge it on who holds the World Cup, and Australia hold that, and none of us can get their hands on it until 2003.
You're going to keep going for a while, aren't you?
I try to.
What's the lesson, the legacy from the low point from England's point of view, which was that defeat in Dublin?
I thought you might ask me that. I just think in intense preparation, we pride ourselves on our preparation, and the preparation for that game just wasn't there. There was various excuses. We lost fair and square. I think if we'd played that game 10 times against Ireland, we'd have lost 10 times. I've been practicing saying that all day. But no, we lost. Our preparation wasn't there. It was a bad week. And as I say, we won 15 out of 16. That was the one that got away. We still won the championship, the trophies at Twickenham. So you had to just bounce back quickly and just concentrate on success and not dwell on one bad day, which it was a bad day. We can't hide from that. But we were pleased where we bounced back to beat Australia, South Africa, proved that you just concentrate on the things you do well and just move on very quickly.
You came back magnificently, a positive thing. Also the rugby league players who are making an impression in the rugby union code. And in rugby league, Great Britain once more saw the Ashes slip away in another final test decider against Australia. Passions ran high in the club game, and getting someone to provide an impartial view was always a gamble. So we went to Vegas and lost.
I know by your standards I'm match fit, but I don't want to play union. It's not about the money. Saints Challenge Cup final victory. The proudest day of my life. My dad being willing to sing in public with me, and me spurring the lads on. One lone voice that rose above the others. It should have been me. I trained, I put the effort in.
Come on, Johnny. You're a team member now, mate.
Mr. Millward, the coach, was very encouraging.
Come on, mate. You can do it. Bring him on.
Loads of cries and like, knock him over, kill the fat one, chase him out the ground, he don't belong.
Get into him, Johnny. Come on, Johnny. Unless you can stand up, I can't pick you, mate.
We did a lot of practicing in terms of like them running into me. Not so much passing or kicking, more You stand there while he hits you.
He's cacking himself! Stand up! Oh, get you!
It's a bit tricky getting to the live games now since Mr. Millward took out that restraining order. But I still hang around by his car and cheer him on from there. What other stuff? No, that I only talk about saying. No, mate, I'm not doing it. You brought me in on false pretences. If you think I'm going to be a free advertising campaign for every other team in Super League, you're sorely wrong. Next thing you know, you'll want a banging on my ass, won't you? Will that do?
No!
Alex Murphy won't put up with this grief. You know, this is bizarre, but my bowels have never felt so free.
And trust me, you don't want to know what happened next. Anyway, we are halfway through the show, and if you haven't yet placed your vote by phone, here's another chance to take a look at the options for Sports Personality of the Year. They are in alphabetical order, of course. First, David Beckham. If you want to vote for David, dial 09011 155 100. For Jonathan Edwards, 09011 155 200. Add 300 to that number if your vote is for Tim Henman. If your choice is Lennox Lewis, it's 400. 500 added to the number for Ellen MacArthur. And completing the sixth, Michael Owen. Add 600 if you want to vote for Michael. So it's less than an hour to go, so do get dialing. Your vote will count.
Right, as we build towards the main prize this evening, it's time to introduce a new award, the Young Sports Personality of the Year. That's for those aged 16 or under. Nominations were sent for this award to the BBC's Blue Peter programme, which announced the top 3 in their show on Friday. Now, you might recognise this 15-year-old whippersnapper. He's done all right since then, made a bit of progress, and still actually almost qualifies for this award. He certainly qualifies to present it alongside the 3 contenders for Young Sports Personality of the Year. Please welcome Michael Owen. Well, the first of our 3 contenders is 16-year-old Amy Spencer, who's had an astonishing athletics season. She's the fastest 100 and 200 metres British runner in her age group and won a silver medal at the Under-18 World Championships. UK Athletics rate Amy as a top young athlete and a natural successor to Catherine Merry. This is Lee Lower, who is also 16. He's competed in wheelchair athletics for 4 years and is national junior champion for javelin, discus and shot put. He's aiming to compete for Great Britain in the 2004 Paralympics in Athens. And finally, yet another 16-year-old, Alex Danson. She's a current under-21 English hockey international and already a senior international. She scored against France this year and was the youngest member of the squad that went to the Junior World Cup tournament in Argentina. So now for the moment of truth. Which of our 3 talented youngsters will take home this inaugural reward? Michael, if you'd do the honours, I'll hold that for you for a minute.
Very much. The first winner of the BBC Young Sports Personality of the Year is Amy Spencer.
This is a story about a player who can clear a table faster than anyone else in the world. He can play equally well with his left hand as he can with his right hand. He turned pro at 15 and that same year became the youngest player to make a competitive 147 break. They call him the Rocket. It was never a question of if Ronnie O'Sullivan would be world champion, more like a question of when.
It's always been a dream of mine to win it, and that was the only tournament I hadn't won. So to have actually finally won the World Championships, you know, I can't really describe it because I was on such a high. I just felt life was just the best it could ever get, and it was probably the best night of my life ever.
There was a guy come up to me and he said, there's a young kid, I've seen him, he's 14. He said, he hits the ball like you, I've never seen anyone hit the ball so natural in all my life. And when he first came on the scene, I did say it was like a breath of fresh air.
People would refer to Ronnie as a genius, a magician, the most naturally gifted player they'd ever seen.
He has that eye of the tiger.
He's magic, O'Sullivan. You know, I'm a natural snooker player, so is Alex Higgins, and Ronnie's come along and took that sort of tag.
But the Rocket wasn't without his critics.
A lot of times along my career, I thought about, you know, giving up the game.
There were the inevitable question marks over his temperament.
Temperamentally, probably, yeah. A lot of the time I beat myself.
Could Ronnie overcome his personal demons?
If I'd have lost the world final, I really do think that this year would have been, you know, a tough struggle.
He had a few personal problems. He's had a lot of, you know, as well publicised, he's had a lot of traumas in his life. I know the family well, they're a very close family, and obviously their dad and husband being in prison, you know, it's a heartache for them.
I didn't take the trophy into the prison. He didn't want me to take it. He said, you know, when I get out, you just go and win it again for me, and I'll have a look at it then. So he just listened to it on the radio, and he listened to it from midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning, just listening to the words, you know, Ronnie O'Sullivan world champion. He was proud, yeah.
In May this year, the Rocket showed everybody, and more importantly himself, what Ronnie O'Sullivan was really made of.
No mistake.
He was champion of the world, and nobody could take that away from him.
That's the pinnacle of everyone's sport, is the World Championships, and for me it was something that I needed to do, I wanted to do, and now I have it.
Jimmy was banging on the door, like, and it was locked. And he was going, "Yeah, Ron, it's Jim."
I see him, I give him a kiss after and said, do you want 14 start for a few quid?
It was such a tiny dressing room, and there was Ronnie's mum swinging from the wardrobe where you hang your coat, you know, she was swinging from that bit.
When I won it and she come down, I was like, you know, I was so happy for her, because she, you know, if it wasn't for my mum and a few close friends that I've got around me, I don't think I'd be sitting here talking to you now.
So there you have it. I suppose you could say it's a happy ending, though I could think of someone who'd argue there are a few more chapters left in this story.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, there's been much to celebrate in football this year, not all of it predictable, but when it came to last season's Premiership, once again Manchester United were on a different planet. Not the blue one, but a red one. Sounds like a job for David Attenborough, but we couldn't afford him.
Journey with me to a place which supports the richest of ecosystems beneath the surface of the red planet. Observe the leatherback manager in its cave, thriving equally at home or in Europe. It looks like it has spied the Beckham. This species is considered quite a catch, which is why its natural habitat is the back of the net. This gregarious animal may frighten the keen. Shy and retiring by nature, this placid creature instinctively darts away from any sort of trouble. Sensing blood, the Sharkingham rises swiftly and silently to the surface, to devastating effect. Distinctive because of his hard, shiny shell, the Bartes is known to inhabit Linda Evangelista's bedroom and is better known by its Latin name, Jammies Sodicus. The Red Planet, teeming with trophies and blessed with an abundance of rare and exotic species, capable of not just capturing the imagination, but also the odd treble as well.
Well, they might have had a couple of wobbles recently, but don't yet write off a big finish for their most successful ever manager. Would you welcome the boss of Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson? That was your seventh championship in 9 years. You've won the last 3. It's a pretty impressive record.
Yeah, it's been a great spell for the club, yeah.
Can I ask you, though, why have you waited until ITV get the highlights before you've made the Premiership interesting?
Well, got to spread it around.
Yeah. It's not been a great start to the season in the league, can you? To say it lightly, but can you put your finger on it? Do you know why it's gone?
Well, we've analysed almost everything you can analyse, and there could be some pertinent reasons, but whatever it is, that we're going to have to find the answer to it, because it's certainly not what we enjoy.
You conceded the championship last week, at least publicly. You didn't really mean it, though, did you?
Well, you don't know.
Sometimes I think that, do you try and get that siege mentality, try and get some sort of team spirit back? Do you think that's perhaps been missing? Was that why you were trying to generate that?
Well, there's one interesting factor that the last 2 championships have been won very easily. And we've missed a dogfight, and maybe we'll have to rediscover that. And that's a possibility.
Well, you've had a fantastic managerial career, both north of the border and, of course, at Manchester United. It's unsurpassed. What would be the best moment for you in your last season now?
The best moment is, without questions, Barcelona. It has to be that...
Champions League?
Yeah, it has to be that... I know that we always point to the very first trophy you ever win, because I think that gives you control of things. And Aberdeen, when they won the first championship in 1980, I thought that was the greatest thing in my life. But it just charges you up and chases you on to other things. The thing is not to look back. It's pointless looking back. So, getting to Barcelona, and it was always I think it was a media thing that they were judging you that I'd never won the Champions League, and that put a certain pressure on me a little bit. And to finally win it that night, and the way we did it, it was...
It'd be nice to go out with another one, wouldn't it, in Glasgow?
It would.
Be a sensational finish. But stay with us just for a moment, Alex, because while Sir Alex Manchester United's side took the spoils north of the border, it was an amazing first season for the shy and retiring Martin O'Neill at Celtic.
Celts are here. What the hell do we care? What the hell do we care? Hail, hail, the Celts are here. What the hell do we care now? For it's a grand old team to play for it's a grand old team to see. And if you know the history, it's enough to make your heart go whoa, 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 whoa. We don't care if we win, lose or draw. What the hell do we care? But we only know that there's gonna be a show, and the Glasgow Celtic will be there.
Now, someone in the game told me that you recommended Martin O'Neill for that Celtic job. I don't know whether that's true, but would you recommend him for the Manchester United job?
Don't get me involved in that.
We don't get you involved. You must be involved.
I'm just hanging on my own job just now.
You don't think it's under pressure, do you?
No.
But you must know something. There must be a few whispers up there. You must have had your ear against the border.
There's always whispers at our club.
Yeah.
But I think it's a big job for the club, and hopefully they choose the right man.
Martin O'Neill could do it though, couldn't he? He's done fantastically well up there.
Well, I think that Celtic were the type of club that needed strong management, a strong person, and I think Martin O'Neill is that type of strength that can go to a club with Celtic, as big as they are, and not be daunted by the other side of the Glasgow. And I think he proved himself very able at that.
Well, Celtics, of course, wasn't the only treble in football last season. Liverpool, having won 2 domestic competitions, made it 3 with that memorable game in the UEFA Cup final against Alaves.
Worthington Cup and an FA Cup double for Liverpool, and it could become a treble.
Chance for Steven Gerrard. It's 2. And what seemed to be very comfortable for Liverpool suddenly isn't quite so. And here is Michael Owen again, the goalkeeper right off his line. That's a penalty. And the noise shifts to the other end. And once again, it's very much game on. Oh, what's that game? And it's 3-3, and this is a quite amazing final. This is not supposed to happen in European finals. Would you believe it? Yes, stop it! Glasgow! Unbelievable! 4-4 with less than 2 minutes remaining. Oh, it's an own goal! It's a golden goal! Yeah! Yeah! He's totally impartial, you know, that Hansen. Al, you weren't supposed to like goals. Gary McAllister joins us now. I mean, what an achievement this year has been. It's been incredible. 5 trophies, and that game was truly memorable. And not bad performance from yourself, Ronaldo.
It's the first time I've seen those pictures, you know, and it just shows you what it means to, you know, the ex-players. You know, it was unbelievable seeing the Alan
squeals like a pig,
and the fans, the faces of the fans was unbelievable, and picking out your friends and family in there as well. It was a great night.
It's been an amazing turnaround at the club. They've been through a difficult period, but you know, Gerard Houlier's turned things around. How's he done that, do you think?
Well, he's installed a discipline, you know, a team and tactical discipline, which is shown up even more at the moment in the fact that he's, you know, he's recovering at home, and I think that's all credit to him. He's installed that, and the players are just carrying it on, and it's all credit to him, really.
Well, it was 5 trophies this year, and currently Liverpool is sitting on top of the Premiership. However, the club, and indeed all in football, were shaken when their manager was admitted to hospital just 8 weeks ago to undergo emergency heart surgery. Well, by all accounts, he's making a remarkable recovery, and I'm delighted that from Liverpool we can welcome Gerard Houllier. Firstly, Gerard, a big welcome, obviously. It's great to see you looking so well. How are you feeling?
Feeling better now. It's nice to see the trophy again, and but I feel, I mean, from a personal point of view, from a health point of view, I feel much better now.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear, but it must have been a really terrifying experience, Gerard.
I must say that I never realized how serious it was at the beginning, and I have to give credit to the surgeon who's done a tremendous job on me and probably saved my life. But the people in Liverpool and everywhere, and I know that Alec is with you, and some of the players have been extremely supportive, so it practically gives you a boost every day to recover, really.
What were the first signs, Gerard? We heard about the chest pains during the match, but any little warnings before that?
I would say that for the 2 months previous to what happened, I never felt completely right. Probably more tired than usual, or taking more time to recover from some commitments, and there was probably something, you know, somewhere, a leak, I would say, and but the main thing obviously happened at halftime against in the game against Leeds. But when you're a manager, you don't want to show that you are weak or that you have got some weakness. You want to show that you're strong, and you just back your team that way. Because if you're tired, then you show some signs of tiredness. Obviously, it's carried over to your team, and that's probably why I took over myself, you know, a lot of pressure without showing it. But it was not due to stress. It was just mainly because I was probably doing too much and I was overworked, really.
Has it put you off, Gerard, or are you desperate to come back?
I'm desperate to come back, but I have to follow the doctor's instruction, and the doctor's instructions are very straightforward. I have to take a break, and at some stage I'll leave Liverpool for maybe 3 weeks before I come back. But I'm pleased to say that really the backroom staff, and particularly Phil next to me, they've done a tremendous job, as you know.
Yeah, how long do you think it'll be, Gerard, before you're back in that dugout?
I hope by the end of January I should be back, you know, I would say end of January or beginning of February, I should be back to normal, really.
We saw Phil next year, if we can bring Phil Thompson in. Phil, you've done fantastically well filling into his shoes. Has it been difficult in any way?
Yeah, it has, because, you know, he is so special. It's hard trying to do his team talks because he's brilliant at them. That's the hardest part of the job. Dealing with the press is obviously difficult, but I think on the footballing side, Sammy, Jack and Joe Corrigan have been tremendous help for me, and we've just tried to keep things going, and that's all I can say that we've done. That's testimony to the boss.
Have you told?
And the results have kept coming. They're the most important thing.
Have you told him yet that you've sold Robbie Fowler?
I've sold him. Thanks for that.
But we're all really surprised that you've actually signed Carlton Palmer.
He's playing up front next week.
Yeah. Alex, let me bring you into. I know you visited Gerard. Would you like to perhaps say something? He's looking great, isn't he?
He's looking fantastic, Gerard. Well done. I hope you're keeping better. And I'm
thanks.
Very pleased you're at the top of the week just now. Good luck.
Gerard, thanks very much. If you can all just stay put just for a moment, because it's time for our fourth award of the night. Once again, a number of strong contenders for the Team of the Year award. The England football team, after that incredible win in Germany. Sir Alex's own Manchester United for their dominance of the Premiership. In golf, our successful Walker Cup team. And treble winners, Leicester and Rugby Union, and Celtic, of course, up in Scotland. But it was the treble-winning side south of the border that won our judges' vote, and one of their former greats, Ian Rush, is with Gerard Houllier and Phil Thompson to present the BBC Team of the Year award to Liverpool Football Club.
On behalf of BBC, I'd just like to present
the Year award. To win 5 trophies in 1 year is absolutely incredible. But now you've got 6, and it's all down to hard work you've done and your staff. Well done.
Thanks very much, Ian. Thanks very much. First of all, I would like to thank the BBC for this prestigious award, and when I see the contenders, I realize how important it is. And I feel extremely honored to be presented this award by Ian, because I consider him as a Liverpool legend, same as Phil Thompson next to me. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. But my thoughts and my thanks go to my players, not only this season's players. I know Maka and Michael are down there, but also to the players who left in the summer, like Christian and Robbie lately. They all deserve this award, and we share that with them. I would like also to express my gratitude to David Moore, the chairman, the board, Rick Parry. They've all been very supportive to what we wanted to achieve and wanted to do. I would like to thank my backroom staff, because you don't win just like that. As Phil said, you know, we have a team behind the team. But above all, the fans, because the fans have been extremely good, and nobody knows better than I how fantastic and how supportive they've been to me. Everybody in this club deserves a special thank you. Everybody in this club deserves a thank you for making this club so special. Thanks very much.
Well, in athletics, all eyes were on Edmonton. No, sadly not Pickett's Lock in North London's Edmonton, but the World Championships in Edmonton, Canada. For Britain, it wasn't the haul of medals that we expected following the success of Sydney, but among the week's winners, there were 2 outstanding performances for us to celebrate, from Mr. Reliable and Mr. Courageous.
Sometimes I love you, sometimes you make me blue. Sometimes I feel good, at times I feel used. Loving you, darling, makes me so confused. I keep on falling in and out of love with you. I never loved someone the way that I'm loving you.
Slow down, baby. Slow down, baby. Slow down, baby. Yeah. Slow down, baby. Yeah. LL Cool J in the house, you know what I'm saying? EPMD in the correct, snapping necks, cash and large checks. All but non-believers can coach it the dick, you know what I'm saying? Cause this is Daddy Mac, king of the Bozak. All my friends knows that. Mix the master down as I kick it like this. Slow down, baby. So you can get rugged. Slow down, baby.
I never felt this way. How do you give me so much pleasure? It causes me so much pain, babe. Just when I think I'm taking more than what a fool, I start falling, making love with you. I keep on falling in and out of love with you. I never loved someone the way
What? Well, joining me, gold medalist Jonathan Edwards, bronze medalist Dean Macy. First of all, Jonathan, I called you there Mr. Reliable, but let me take you back to that final jump in the qualifying for the final. You left it to the last one and only made it by that on the board.
Yeah, well, I'd like to say that it was to keep the crowd interested, but my heart was in my mouth. And actually, as I stood on the runway for that last jump, the announcer came over the tunnel and said, here's Jonathan Edwards on the runway, and he's not going to qualify for the final in his present position, so it kind of heaped the pressure on. But yeah, it was a good jump under pressure, so I was pleased with myself, but very relieved.
But you told me in Canada, you said, oh, never in doubt.
Never. No, qualifying's always a lottery. Always a lottery. As you saw with Steve Backley, silver medal the year before, and then didn't make it through the qualifying. So it's always a relief to get through that.
Now, I know we talked after the Olympic gold last year that, you know, possibly that was the dream that you wanted to achieve because you'd had the World Championship. And would there be talk of retirement? And you said no, and now you've gone off. You're even further ahead in your field.
I mean, I had an amazing year. I mean, I look back now and I can't quite believe it. I jumped, I think, 25 times. I didn't get injured, which was unusual. And I was having a lot of fun. Since '95, there's been a lot of pressure on me. And it was really nice to go out knowing that I had an Olympic gold medal in my cabinet and, you know, getting a bit older. So really, you know, I was in a no-lose situation. And it was great. And really, I'll carry on until I can do it no longer, or some of these young guys come through and start beating me.
Yeah, well, in your field it's certainly strong, but we have a very good decathlete alongside. And Dean, you must have felt a little bit like a pincushion out in Edmonton because you had so many injuries and you were having painkilling injections sort of all through the days, weren't you?
Yeah, but, well, to be honest, I mean, you start a decathlon, whether you're fit or not, expecting something to hurt, but unfortunately it happened in the first event, which has never happened to me before, but I'm sure it'll happen again, I know.
Now, I know you...
It will. Yeah, damn right.
I know you choose not to go away for warm weather training. You like to stay in Canvey Island, is that right?
Well, I just like spending Christmas at home. You know, I like spending it with my family. I know I'm a bit of an old fuddy-duddy, but, you know, I don't know, I have my Christmas dinner at home and that and just open my presents like everyone else. I do go away over April and stuff, but, you know, I work hard.
Yeah, but we've got some recent footage of one of your training videos, and I'd just like your reaction to this, because we're not really too sure what's going on here. This is actually a mystery personality for Question of Sport. And I've got to ask you the question, Dean, why?
I think the man over there is going to answer. I actually walked into the house and they was playing this video and I thought, oh, that weird fella on telly, and they told me I was going to do it, and if I could have run then I would have done.
Well, you look very good.
Has that been out yet?
Oh, well, no, it hasn't.
Yes,
Yeah, no, don't you worry. But John and Ali got you straight away. But anyway, we certainly look forward to the Commonwealth Games, and I know, Jonathan, it would be great to be back on home soil. So good luck for next year. And talking of next year, let's look forward to July the 13th when BBC Sport, Comic Relief and the World of Sport come together to launch a major fundraising initiative, Sport Relief.
Pure joy.
Pure misery.
All together.
All alone.
Sheer heaven.
Sheer hell.
Next year, sport is uniting to raise money for young people.
Both here at home
and around the world.
Sport Relief.
To get involved, log on to www.bbc.co.uk/Sport Relief.
Help us level the playing field.
That's coming up next July. Now, the highlight of the motorsport year was a first World Rally Championship for Richard Burns, who 2 weeks ago was able to sort of cruise through the final round on the Rally of Great Britain when his #1 rival, Colin McRae, crashed out in typically extravagant fashion.
Cut into 6.
Well, they were both okay. Richard Burns became the first ever English driver to win the title, and British motorsport had a world champion to be proud of, Richard Burns. Once you knew that Colin McRae and Nicky Grist were okay, as you passed the wreckage, what were your second thoughts?
I was obviously desperately sorry for him. No, I mean, once we knew that he was okay, then my focus for the rally shifted completely, because from having to win the rally, it meant that I just had to finish in the top 4, and I've won the rally in Great Britain for the last 3 years, so I thought as long as the car was okay, shouldn't be a problem.
Your own partnership that you've forged down the years with your own co-driver Robert Reid, it's a long one. What does this title mean to both of you?
Well, I have to say, obviously, Robert is a very, very big part of what happens. Obviously, the whole team is as well. He makes no mistakes. He's very, very calm. He has to put up with me doing things like that to him occasionally. But the fact is, the pair of us love being in a rally car. I love driving. Robert loves co-driving. and it's what we've worked together for the last 11 years, so it's fantastic.
Well, contractual discussions are continuing. You're not sure yet whether you're going to be driving for Subaru or Peugeot next season. That might be sorted out next week, but one thing's for sure, you'll be starting the season as world champion. Well done. In Formula One, though, there was no last round decider. Instead, the season was one of the most dominant yet for Michael Schumacher, who claimed his 4th world title and reached a record 52 Grand Prix wins. How much do we actually know about Michael Schumacher? A huge ego, outrageous self-belief. Those are the characteristics of the man we sent to find out.
You see, the thing is, Michael Schumacher can get his Ferrari round the Silverstone racetrack here in 1 minute 21 seconds. Right.
He never sweats.
He is just a complete racing driver.
Michael is, well, unbeatable, basically.
Why do I have this gift?
Michael would have gone round that corner at about 2,700 miles an hour. How?
You have the feeling for the optimum. It's a knowledge I have when the car is maximum.
Well, Mary, you've been commentating on motor racing now since about 1830. So have you ever seen anyone like Michael Schumacher?
As soon as I saw him driving, I thought, hello, there's something a bit special here. Just by looking at a chap, you can see that he is abnormally fast. It wasn't just the speed, it was the way he placed the car, where he braked, when he braked. An obvious superstar in the making.
Normally there are 2 or 3 drivers fighting it out for the World Championship crown, but this year Michael was head and shoulders and most of his upper torso above everyone else. He made them look like minkies. I wonder if he turns up at races and thinks, why am I bothering with all these idiots?
Well, he virtually says that, and that's the other thing about him, is he's disdainful of his opposition, and he tries to crush the opposition psychologically. You know, he's fairly complete as a winning machine.
Oh, out goes Schumacher. Now that's bad from Schumacher. Damon had the line. I'm afraid that is.
Damon Hill only has to keep going to be world champion of
Hill shaking his head. He knows in his heart of hearts that it is all over.
1994, the famous collision with Damon. Do you think that demonstrated that Michael will go just as far as he needs to go in order to win?
It might be that from the outside, and especially for the English, it looks just that sometimes his line is far beyond what he should do, but it's just that he's after a target and he does everything to get there, but only to a certain degree where he wouldn't hurt himself or another person.
The question is, if that's the only way you can win, can you live with that?
So, is he the best? Is he the greatest driver of all time?
I think it doesn't really matter where you rate people. The most important is he's the best present driver by winning so many championships and races.
He's incredibly talented, and I think that he has got the ability to be regarded as the greatest driver of all time.
I don't want to put myself into a kind of level which you at least bring over to me, because I don't think I am. I'm not in a different league.
2 minutes 42 seconds. That's exactly twice as long as Michael would take, which makes me half as good. And that's not bad.
Jeremy has potential, but he's not a contender. We have a short list of 6 for Sports Personality of the Year, and with about 20 minutes of voting left, let's give you another check on those all-important numbers. And first of all, David Beckham, 09011 155 100. Jonathan Edwards, the same number, add 200. Tim Henman, add 300. Lennox Lewis, 09011 155 400. Ellen MacArthur, 09011 155 500. And it's 600 for Michael Owen. The voting, we understand, is very, very close indeed. About 20 minutes left. Get on those phones.
and the referee has a look at his watch and he blows the final whistle, and the Republic of Ireland will entertain us again in a World Cup finals.
Yes, despite an incredibly tough group and a difficult playoff trip to Iran, Ireland have made it to next summer's World Cup in Korea and Japan. Mick McCarthy's here. Congratulations, Mick.
Thanks, Gary.
Fantastic achievement to qualify from a group with both Holland and Portugal.
Wonderful, yeah. It was just a shame that you couldn't hear the sound from those pictures. I think there was a fair bit of bad language going on. Something your beauty was the order of the day, I think.
By comparison, a group with Saudi Arabia, Cameroon and Germany should be a piece of cake, shouldn't it?
Apparently, yeah. We entered the World Cup having no chance with Holland and Portugal. Then we qualified, and then with no chance when we got to the World Cup. We get what seems to be a fair draw, good draw for us. And now we're certain quarter-finalists, which is a bit ridiculous.
Well, we wish you well, Mick.
Thanks, Kelly.
Now, in case you didn't know, Ireland, of course, will be joined in the World Cup finals by England. An astonishing turnaround in fortunes under new management. One of the books of the year will be The Diary of Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Oh, yes.
So a 100% start for Sven in the World Cup, but then came the Germans. Oh, happy days.
To Janka! It's a goal for Germany! And it's Carsten Janka! There's a chance of an equaliser here, and they've done it! Michael Owen yet again for England! It's the Germans' turn to stand like statues! Were caught a bit there, and they may still be, because in the middle, Deisler! What a ghastly miss! Janka. Burma! Good save by David Seaman, he was alert there. Gerard. Oh, it is, yes! It's 2-1 England! A smiling Sven! Heskey. Oh, heads it down, Owen again! And England have gone into a 3-1 lead here in Munich. Michael Owen gets his second of the match. Oh, fantastic stuff! Through again for England. What a chance for the hat-trick here. Owen. Oh, this is getting better and better and better. 1, 2, 3 for Michael Owen. England lead 4-1 in Germany. Pinch yourself, please. Now, Heskey's to his left unmarked. Emil Heskey, could it be 5? Yes, it is! This is developing into one of the most memorable performances that an England team has put up in recent years. Listen to this. Germany 1, England 5.
Tell you what, some of us have been waiting quite a while for that. Sorry, Boris. Well, after that, Sven walked his team across the North Sea, and 4 days later it was Albania in Newcastle. Owen broke the deadlock, Fowler finished in style, 2-0 England. So all that left was the Greeks at Old Trafford. We had to match the Germans, who, as luck would have it, could only draw with Finland. Never in doubt. Thank heavens for Beckham.
It's a fantastic ending.
Would you please welcome David Beckham, Michael Owen and Sven-Göran Eriksson. Sorry we've not got a bench for you, but I guess you've had enough of those just lately, David. Irresistible. I suppose, though, you're not tired of seeing that goal, are you?
No, I've watched it a few times now, and it's I enjoy it every time.
It was a fantastic moment. Did you fancy it? Because you'd had a few free kicks in that game, hadn't you?
Yeah, I'd had about 8, but it's been an amazing year. You know, the whole team. You know, Michael scoring the 3 goals against Germany, topped it off, and then for me to get that goal, you know, for us to get through to the World Cup finals.
It's pretty good for you, as you said, that hat-trick in Germany. I mean, 5-1 there. It doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No, that was a dream come true to play away in Germany, especially having been beat at Wembley, 1-0 by them. So yeah, it was nice to get one back on them and then continue and qualify for the World Cup.
Match ball, pride of place?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's been signed by all the lads. Yeah, things like that don't come along very often, so they're treasured when you get them.
Match ball and golden balls all together. Sven, what was it like in the dressing room after the game? Those results just don't happen. It must have been an incredible atmosphere.
No, you're right. It shouldn't happen to beat Germany away with 5-1. But it happened, and we were very lucky. And of course, in the dressing room, in the beginning, up and down. That's very good. But everything very calm after, because we had a game some days after that. So I talked a little, and I was very, very happy, of course.
You look like you're in a wall there. You could bend it around, couldn't you, though? Now looking a little further ahead, we've the World Cup draw. We've got, the favourites for the competition, the best team in Africa and a team we haven't beaten in decades. I thought you were supposed to be lucky.
Yeah, we will have that luck in June.
Yeah.
I hope.
You're still confident, though, we can get through?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it's very difficult, we know that, and we were not lucky at all. But if you beat Germany away 5-1, why can't you beat Argentina?
Great memories for you, Argentina, of course. That sort of launched you that incredible goal, didn't it?
Yeah, it was obviously a great memory, playing in the last World Cup. Unfortunately, they knocked us out on penalties, so but after 90 minutes we drew and we held our own, so you know, we're not scared of them. I'm sure the other teams in our group aren't going to be looking forward to facing us. Not
quite such good memories for you, David, but we'll gloss over those. You can get it all right by just kicking Veron in training towards the end of the season.
I can't get near him.
It's going to be fantastic, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's, you know, the draw. I've always said that it's you've got to put yourself up against the best. We've got the best Argentina. You know, they're very tough team, very good players, and it will be tough. But you know, we're confident.
And after you've won the World Cup, Sven, it's off to Manchester United, isn't it?
I heard about it myself, yes. I don't know if Alex wants to change work with me. No. I'm happy where I am. I'm very proud to be here in this country and with England, of course, so I'm happy.
We're glad you're happy, and we certainly wish you well next summer. Don't go away just for the moment, because it's time for our next award. For our Coach of the Year award, among the contenders there was strong representation from the footballing world. Celtic's Martin O'Neill and Liverpool's Gerard Houllier to name two. In racing, the Derby winner Galileo was one of a record 23 Group 1 victories for Irish trainer Aidan O'Brien. But if I could ask England legend Sir Bobby Charlton to join us to present the award to a man who has transformed the fortunes of England football team. The BBC Coach of the Year is Sven-Göran Eriksson.
Thank you very much, BBC, and thank you, of course, to my staff, not just the coaching staff, also the others, all the managers, coaches working out in the country, bringing me all the good football players. That's very nice. Thank you to the players. Without good football players, you can't be a good coach or manager. It's impossible. Thank you to all supporters. I have had many football teams in my life, but never with so many and so good supporters as England has. It's beautiful wherever we go. Last, thank you to all the support I have in the FA, and also to the FA for bringing me to this country. I enjoy it very much. Thank you very much to all of you.
Sven-Göran Eriksson, Coach of the Year. Before we leave football, though, we're going to make the second of our new awards. The Lifetime Achievement Award will honour those whose career and commitment has enriched sport in a very special way. Our Lifetime Achievement Award tonight honours a man who took on a great but maybe underachieving football club and turned them into possibly the best in Europe, possibly the most famous in the whole world.
He's a Govan man first, then a Glaswegian, then a Scot, then a Briton, and then a citizen of the world, but he always starts with Govan.
A great manager has to win titles, and he has done that.
Aberdeen have definitely won the championship.
What he did at Aberdeen was almost miraculous.
You would have to say that he's been the best manager that Britain has ever produced, without doubt.
The morning he came down and everybody was there with a short back and sides because Gordon Strachan had told them that at Aberdeen you didn't have long hair.
Every footballer had to have porridge for training. Porridge, very, very, very good basis for life, really.
A chance here and a goal! Manchester United celebrate Alex Ferguson's first major trophy at Old Trafford.
Positive and decisive and brave with his decisions.
Manchester United are the first winners of the FA Premier League.
He expects certain standards, and if any of the players under his charge drops below those standards, you're made very aware of it.
He never lets you off. You never sort of get time to enjoy winning games. There's always the next one.
And Beckham saw Sullivan off his line. Oh, that is absolutely phenomenal.
His way of looking after players and his nature of being a father figure to us, that's the biggest thing for me.
He drives you on, but he's also a very fair man. If you do a job for him, he'll do anything for you.
If I step out of line, he can be quite hard, you know, but fair is the most important thing.
He gives a lot to the players as well. He gives them the confidence to play on the Old Trafford stage.
It's hooked back in for Hughes. It's there!
Usually he's beaten you, but one thing I found about him over a glass of red wine afterwards, he's very humble.
You can talk to him about politics, about Northern Ireland. He knows about wine, he obviously knows about racing, and he knows a bit about football.
If Alec gives you any advice about horses, if he tips you a horse, be very, very careful.
The bad driver, I've travelled often with him, to games, and I had to stop it about 3 or 4 years ago because I couldn't stand it.
This is still Ryan Giggs who's passed Keogh and has scored a sensational goal!
If I can achieve a little bit of what he's done, I'll be delighted.
Oh, he's a nice man. He's a family man, and we're going to miss him around the place.
It's been a period that our fans, they've been in paradise really for about 12 years. And if it's not the same again, well, it might never be the same again. But he's given them some magical moments.
World football will miss Sir Alex Ferguson, but I think there will be reverberations of his presence for quite a long time to come.
He's a man who's brought so much glory to British football, and to present the award, one of the key players that he brought to Manchester United, Peter Schmeichel. Ladies and gentlemen, the inaugural Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Sir Alex Ferguson.
First of all, to the BBC, thank you for this wonderful award. It's truly appreciated. And like anyone who's travelled a long time, there has to be people who have supported you. And I thank them for that, particularly my family, my wife, my 3 sons, my brother. And without that foundation, I wouldn't be where I am today. I've also had the privilege of for the great staff throughout my career as a manager. I thank them throughout the years. And lastly, I've had this great privilege of managing the greatest players in the world. Some of them here tonight, and that's given me the most amazing satisfaction. We tried to achieve from the very outset when I was at East Stirling, from just footballers, tried to make them better. And to the position I am now, to deal with the world-class players, you have no idea the satisfaction it gives me. And I thank all these players who've had to live with me which has not been easy, but they've always shared my ambition, and I appreciate that too. Thank you.
So 6 awards have been decided, just one remains, and in a moment we'll find out who you have voted Sports Personality of the Year. The phone lines are now closed. Thank you for your votes, but while the final count is being made, we'll grab a sneak preview into what promises to be a very busy and exciting 12 months of sporting action on the BBC.
Well, that's all to look forward to next year, but now the big question is, who is the sports personality of 2001? Just before we announce the winner, and all right, yes, to build the tension a little, a quick reminder of the 6 contenders.
Yes, the big moment has arrived. Tonight we have received more than 750,000 telephone calls to add to the total we'd received over the past few weeks. So it's now time to announce the BBC's Sports Personality of the Year. Sven-Göran Eriksson is here to present the awards, and in keeping with tradition, I will announce the top 3 in reverse order, and the voting has been very, very close indeed. In third place, a man whose goals helped Liverpool win 5 trophies this year and who scored that incredible hat-trick for England against Germany in Munich, Michael Owen.
This one? That's a mini one.
That's right. Just there. Prolong the tension a little, Michael. In second, stop reading it, is an individual who took on everything that the elements could throw at her, showing tremendous courage, spirit and skill. Ladies and gentlemen, Ellen MacArthur. But the winner, ladies and gentlemen, of the BBC Sports Personality of the Year, after his marvellous individual performances for Manchester United and for England, David Beckham.
Obviously, I thank the BBC. You know, it's a great privilege to receive this award. I have to thank everyone, you know, all the viewers for voting. Most of all, I have to thank you know, my teammates at Manchester United, the manager at Manchester United, because without them, I wouldn't be standing here today. You know, people have said a lot about the Manchester United team over the last couple of months and the Manchester United manager, but when you talk about ambition, there's only one man, and he's sat over there, that we all look up to. And you know, the team will pull together and come through this difficult patch. I also have to thank my England teammates, where without them we wouldn't be the stage we are, you know, going through to the World Cup finals. And obviously Mr. Eriksson, you know, had the bottle to keep me as England captain, and I thank him very much for that. And lastly, I'd like to thank my mum and dad, my nan and granddad, my sisters, my whole family, and who are up there. And most of all, my wife, who's you know, who is behind me the whole time, and obviously my son, who watches me every game. So thank you very much again.
Celebration is over, and David Beckham is BBC Sports Personality of the Year. From us all here in BBC Television Centre, it's good night.